It is 2 a.m. The room is dark except for the phone screen lighting up his face. He has been scrolling for 4 hours. He does not remember what he watched. He ordered takeaway again tonight, the third time this week, and the wrapper is still on the floor next to yesterday's. He knows he should stop. He tells himself tomorrow. He has told himself tomorrow for the last 2 years. What if tonight, tomorrow actually came? What if he put the phone down, closed his eyes, and decided that for the next 90 days, he was going to lock in completely? No excuses. No more scrolling until 2 a.m. No more takeaway containers stacking up. Just 90 days of total, uncomfortable, deliberate change. Let's find out what would actually happen to his body, his brain, and his bank account. Day 1 is almost nothing. He deletes the apps that eat his time. He throws out the junk food in the kitchen. He goes to bed at a normal hour for the first time in longer than he can remember. Nothing dramatic happens. His body does not transform overnight. But something else starts. Something invisible. Something researchers who study behavior change call the first domino. Dr. B.J. Fogg, the behavioral scientist at Stanford who has spent decades studying habit formation, found that the size of the initial change matters far less than most people assume. What matters is starting a chain reaction. Small, early wins create what Fogg calls a success spiral, where one completed action makes the next action slightly easier, which makes the one after that easier still. The first week is not about results. It is about proving to your own brain that you are someone who follows through. By day 7, his sleep has changed. Without the blue light and dopamine hits of endless scrolling before bed, his circadian rhythm begins correcting itself. Sleep researchers at Harvard Medical School have documented that removing screen exposure in the hour before sleep can improve sleep onset time and depth of deep sleep within as little as a week. He is waking up without an alarm for the first time in years. His mind feels less foggy. Small thing, but it compounds. Day 14. He has started walking, nothing intense, just 30 minutes a day, outside, away from a screen. This single habit is doing more than he realizes. Exercise physiologist Dr. John Ratey, author of Spark, has documented that even moderate aerobic activity increases levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that supports the growth of new neurons and improves cognitive function. He is not just building fitness, he is rebuilding the physical structure of his own brain. Month 1 ends, and the scale has moved, but only slightly. 5 pounds, maybe 6. This is the point where most people quit. The results are not dramatic enough to justify the discomfort, but he does not quit because somewhere around week 3, something shifted that had nothing to do with the scale. He started using his mornings differently. Instead of reaching for his phone the second he woke up, he opened his laptop and started learning. He picked something practical, video editing or copywriting or a specific software skill, something he could realistically monetize within a few months, not a vague, unfocused hobby. He spent 1 focused hour a day on it, the same hour he used to spend doom scrolling. This decision matters more than anything else in the entire 90 days. Economist and productivity researcher Cal Newport, who has extensively studied what he calls deep work, found that most people drastically underestimate what focused, undistracted effort compounds into over even a short period of time. 1 hour of genuinely focused skill building per day, sustained for 90 days, is roughly 90 hours of deliberate practice. That is not enough to become a world expert, but it is more than enough to become dramatically more capable than someone with 0 hours, which describes almost everyone competing for the same online opportunities. Month 2. His body has changed more visibly now. The walking has become jogging. He has cut the takeaway almost entirely, not because of willpower alone, but because his habits have physically rewired around new patterns. Neuroscientists studying habit formation including researchers at MIT who mapped the basal ganglia's role in automatic behavior, have shown that repeated behaviors literally become neurologically automated after roughly 2 months of consistent repetition. What required enormous willpower in week 1 now requires almost none in week 8. The behavior has become who he is, not something he has to force himself to do. His skill has developed too. He has built something, a handful of small freelance projects, a portfolio, maybe his first tiny payment from a stranger on the internet who paid him actual money for something he made with his own hands and his own new knowledge. It is not much. $50, $100. But it is proof of concept, and proof of concept changes everything psychologically. He is no longer someone hoping this might work. He is someone who has evidence that it does. Month 3 begins, and the compounding becomes visible to everyone around him, not just to him. Physically, 90 days of consistent movement and improved nutrition produces changes that are, by this point, unmistakable. Research published in the Journal of Obesity has documented that sustained caloric awareness combined with regular aerobic activity typically produces measurable, visible body composition changes within 8 to 12 weeks for most previously sedentary individuals. He has lost real weight now, 15, 20 pounds, but more than that, his energy has fundamentally changed. He is not dragging himself through the day anymore. He has more hours of usable energy than he has had in years, because he is no longer spending that energy managing the physical and mental fog of poor sleep, poor diet, and constant digital overstimulation. Financially, the 90 days of consistent skill building have started to genuinely compound. He is not rich. This is not a story about overnight success, but he has built something real, a steady stream of small clients, a visible portfolio, a skill that people are now willing to pay him for consistently, not just once. Economist and author of Deep Work, again, Cal Newport, argues that rare and valuable skills are the currency of the modern economy, and rare and valuable skills are built almost exclusively through sustained, deliberate focus of exactly the kind he has now practiced for 3 straight months. He has gone from someone with 0 income streams outside a single job to someone building something of his own on the side that is growing every single week. Mentally, the change is perhaps the most significant of all. Psychologist Angela Duckworth, whose research on grit has reshaped how psychologists understand long-term achievement, found that the single strongest predictor of sustained success was not talent or intelligence, but the capacity to maintain effort and interest over long periods despite setbacks. He has now directly experienced what Duckworth's research describes. He has proven to himself that he can commit to something difficult for an extended period and come out the other side changed. That proof is not abstract. It is now part of his actual identity. Here's what nobody tells you about a genuine 90-day transformation. It is not really about the 90 days. It is about what those 90 days prove is possible. Once someone has demonstrated to themselves that they can radically restructure their body, their skills, and their finances in 3 months through nothing but consistent, unglamorous daily effort, the question stops being whether they can change. The question becomes what they will build next. The person who was doom-scrolling at 2 a.m. 4 months ago does not fully exist anymore, not because of one dramatic decision, because of 90 consecutive days of small, boring, unremarkable choices that stacked one on top of the other quietly built an entirely different person. He still has bad days. He still occasionally orders takeaway. He is not perfect, and he never will be. But he is no longer the person who needed an alarm clock to wake him up at noon into a day he did not really want to be part of. What if you locked in for 3 months? The honest answer is that you will not notice much for the first 2 weeks. You will want to quit around week 3 when the results still feel too small to justify the effort. And then somewhere between week 6 and week 12, if you keep showing up anyway, something will shift that has nothing to do with willpower anymore. Because the person doing the showing up will not be the same person who started. That person is still asleep right now at 2 a.m. scrolling. But he does not have to be.